And welcome, sports fans, to today's roundtable. Apologize, getting a little late start here. Had a little mic problem, so we had to make a little adjustment there. So hopefully it'll come in fine. It might be a little different, but apologize for that. But getting underway, big show today. We got a lot of things to get to today. Exciting time of the year, certainly, with high school basketball starting to wrap up its season, and we're into the final moments of the season. We're getting a lot of big rivalry games here this last week, over the last few weeks, and continuing over the next week, especially in conference play. We're seeing some conference tournaments wrap up, kind of the final conference tournaments wrapping up last night. We'll get to those matchups from last night and this week, and heading into this next week, the last week of the regular season for classes 1 through 3. Still got a few more weeks for classes 4 and 5. And we'll be getting into district tournaments for those big classes as well. And we're going to touch on some district tournaments that have already been released this week in the area. So a lot to look forward to there with the district tournaments coming up, which we're going to cover, which we'll get to later on in the show. Also, we got guests in today. We've got Brad Botsch going to be along with us, talking about his season so far with the Bernie Mules. The Bernie Mules having another great year and looking forward to making another great run here in the postseason. Coming down to the end of the year, we're also going to show or have Terry McVey, our sports contributor, talk about the sports scene that we've had here in the last few weeks and looking ahead as we got some big matchups coming up and some district tournaments as well. We'll be talking to Terry about those coming up. And also we got highlights, a lot of highlights. We got Bernie-Hayti highlights from earlier in the week. Also we'll have our highlights from last night, Kennett and Dexter, those highlights as well. And then we'll also have highlights from the Sykes and Cape Central game from last night. So a lot to get to, and action-packed show for today as we got a lot to get to. Glad you joined us here on YHC and online. And we're going to go ahead and get into our things to get to for today. Let's first start off with some games from last night. Let's take a look at some games from last night in the area. And the game that we brought to you live last night here on YHC, Kennett and Dexter. And it was a 56-52 victory for the Kennett Indians last night. SEMO Conference matchup, and actually a rubber match between these two, as Kennett got the victory over Dexter to take that rubber match at the Bearcat Event Center last night. They faced off 2 times in tournaments, actually. In the SEMO Conference tournament, Dexter defeated Kennett in the first couple weeks of the year. And then the Bloomfield Christmas tournament, Kennett defeated Dexter. And then last night, the SEMO Conference regular season, Kennett getting the victory over Dexter. And let's go ahead and take a look at some highlights from that game last night. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Jump stop, shot, count it. Thinks about it, finds Hahn. Foster shot again, good.
And we see here a nice drive up into the lane and the finish and the foul. And here we see a nice transition bucket with the finish for the Indians. And pretty even throughout this game. You see here, nice jumper put in there by Seth Rogers. And nice pull-up jumper on the right side. I think that was Pulliam knocking that one down in the transition. And nice finish at the bucket. I think that was McMullen on that one. Andrew Ellinghouse stepping into a 3 on the left side to knock that one down. And Braxton Foster getting the putback underneath for the Bearcats. Now again another transition bucket for Harrell, basket and the foul. And we see here nice dish off and finish. Garrett Henson with the finish for the Bearcats there. Nice dish off the high post to Braxton Foster, knocking it down from the free throw line. And Foster, nice little turnaround in the paint over Hamer, getting the finish for the Bearcats there. And here, 3-pointer on the left side, knocked down. I think that was Kobe Gates, who's back into the mix for the Indians. And a nice drive and finish there. And another finish for the Indians here into the second half. Nice dish off, easy basket there. Dish off from Gargis. And here we see a nice basket there at the high post for the Bearcats. Nice drive finish and the bucket for the Indians there. And Indians, Harrell with a nice little scoop shot there to get the finish for Kennett. Nice dump down pass and another basket for the Indians. Here towards the end of the third, nice little dump down for Henson, getting the finish there. And nice little scoop shot on the spin move there, getting the finish. Another drive there and a finish as Kennett really playing well late. Get a nice little backdoor cut into the fourth quarter. And in the corner, Jackson Hemphlin knocking that one down in the corner. And we see here Dexter starting to make a little run here at the end of the fourth quarter. But Kennett just made enough plays here. We're seeing Hamer getting the drop off there, getting that finish. And nice high-low action there. Henson with the finish for the Bearcats. We're seeing a lot of that out of Dexter this year. And another basket and the foul late in the fourth quarter, as we see here. Three-pointer good to cut into the Indian lead. And then a basket and the foul for Dexter and tying it up. And we see here a late bucket for the Indians. And we see here last possession for Dexter to try to tie it up. Thrown away, turned over, and going to the line. Hemphley knocking down a couple free throws to put it away for the 56-52 victory for Kennett last night. So a great game throughout. Kennett played well late, controlled it. Dexter made a couple plays to certainly make it interesting, to make a chance, have a chance for the Bearcats to win late. It's just Kennett made the plays late to hold off the Bearcats. And look out for these Kennett Indians. Looking really strong there. It looks like they're playing the best ball they've played all year here in late January and February, when you certainly need to be playing your best. And Kennett could be an interesting matchup in the Class 3 district coming up here in a few weeks. And take a look at some other games from last night in the area. Sikeston and Cape Central. What a game there last night. Sikeston and Cape Central, probably one of the most anticipated games of the year between those two. And we got that last night. And got a 68-66 victory, Sikeston over Cape Central. So quite the victory last night for Sikeston. They held off Cape Central in a close one last night. And big CMO Conference matchup there. Also a Class 4 district matchup. And Sikeston pretty much in the driver's seat now for the CMO Conference title. Pretty much come down to those two in the regular season. And both undefeated in the conference play coming into the matchup. And Sikeston had to make some plays late. Cape Central had about a 3-point lead with about 3 to 4 minutes to go. And Sikeston made the plays late when they certainly needed to. Had some big plays late. Looks like, I think we did have some, let's take a look at some highlights here of that game. I thought I had it queued up, but having a hard time getting it to it here. Let's see. All right, we'll do it a different way here. Yeah, we'll key up those highlights here in just a moment. We'll have it. But big plays late from Sikeston to hold off Cape Central, two of the top-ranked teams in the state in Class 4, and quite the game last night there at the Sikeston Fieldhouse, packed out house as you can imagine. But coming down to the end and giving you some video here from SBS TV, Sikeston High School, as they brought the game online last night. Taking a look at some of the highlights from last night. We see here three-pointer Parker Owen knocking that one down to give Sikeston the 3-point lead. We see here Redden stepping in with the mid-range jumper. Parker Owen missing the shot there and quickly ahead as Tucker going to jam it for Cape Central. And now we see a 1-point lead for Cape Central, around 2 minutes to go. Thrown away in the backcourt. And we're seeing Sikeston here with 2 minutes to go. Owen Long going to take the three, misses, but Trey Jenkins with the putback, getting Sikeston the lead there. And we're seeing here a drive by Kevin Jones, going to give him a 3-point lead with over a minute to go. And we're seeing here Cape trying to come up with some offense, down 3. Hughes steps into a 3, misses, and a big rebound there for Sikeston. And Parker Owen goes to the line, knocks it down to make it a 5-point game with 2 free throws. And down 5, Hughes throws up the desperation 3 at the buzzer to make it a 2-point game, 68-66 final there in Sikeston last night. So what a game coming down to the end. Sikeston just made a few plays late where Cape left the door open, and Sikeston forced that turnover. That was big on that steal. They were down 1 at that point, got that steal, and ended up going up 1, and then making the plays after that point to secure the victory over Cape Central last night. So probably not the last time we'll see these two teams face off. They're very likely to match up in that Class 4 District 1 championship, which will be at Cape Central, the Class 4 District 1 tournament at Cape Central, which will be on hand for that this year up there at Cape. So we'll be looking forward to that tournament. We'll be up there on the championship night. And coming down to the wire in Sykeston, we're going to have another classic probably set up for that district final in Cape Central up there at Cape in just about 3 weeks' time. So certainly a great matchup there last night, and we'll be looking forward to another great matchup probably in a couple weeks. So, two of the top teams in the Class 4, I think they're ranked 1 and 2. They were 1 and 2. They might be 1 and 3 now, but either way, two great teams here in Southeast Missouri in the Class 4 district, and probably not the last time we'll see that. So probably look forward to that rematch in a few weeks. And looking at some other games in the SEMO Conference last night, Jackson over New Madrid County Central, and that was 56-49. Jackson over Cape Central, 56-49. Jackson over New Madrid County Central. Jackson securing a SEMO Conference victory last night. And also Bernie over Malden, 79-28. No problem for the Bernie Mules last night over the Malden Green Wave. Also we have Charleston over Portageville, and that was 86-68. Charleston, another great team. They've really turned it on since Christmas, looking really good. And Portageville also looking really good as well here late in the season. Both teams that'll be looking to have some strong finishes to their year in district play. Also, in the Ozark Foothills Conference Tournament Championship, in the finals, it was second-seeded Twin Rivers over top-seeded Neelyville, 60-32. No problem for Twin Rivers last night in that final over at Three Rivers College, and Twin Rivers winning that Ozark Foothills Championship last night in conference tournament play. And the Tri-County Conference Tournament Championship, Risco winning their third straight title, 78-61 over the top-seeded Clarkton Reindeer. And big night for the Risco Tigers, like I said, winning their third straight Tri-County Conference title. And looking forward to another great district run out of the Tigers this year. And a pretty big night for the Tigers last night in North Pemiscot, and securing that win over Clarkton and their third straight title. Congratulations to Brandon Blankenship and the Risco Tigers on a great season. And also we have Richland over Puxco in the Stoddard County Conference, 73-67. Richland pulling out that narrow victory over Puxco. Oran over Scott County Central, 87-61. Oran getting a nice conference victory up there. Scott Mississippi Conference victory. Oran over Scott County Central. Also, we have Notre Dame over Poplar Bluff. Quite the SEMO Conference matchup there. You would think Poplar Bluff would come out on top of that one. They've had a great year playing Sykeston down to the wire last week, I think down to 7 points. Notre Dame, one of those teams that's really looking good this time of year. They're also the Class 4 District 1, so can't really overlook them. They'll be they'll be a team to be reckoned with in that Class 4 district as well, especially coming off that impressive SEMO Conference victory over Poplar Bluff last night. And take a look at some other games. We got Scott City over Meadow Heights, 71-54. Scott City Rams getting a victory over Meadow Heights. Woodland over Zalma, 92-53. Thayer over Poplar Bluff into the girls' ranks now. Thayer over Poplar Bluff, 55-47. Van Buren over Alton, 54-36. Jackson over Murfreesboro of Illinois. That one was 66-25. Lake County, Tennessee over Caruthersville, 54-40. Dexter over Cape Central, 60-27. Sykeston over Blytheville, 73-46. Also, we have Oran over Poplar Bluff, 75-54. Saxony Lutheran over Kennett, 50-34. And those are the games from the past few nights here in the area. And taking a look at the replays you can watch of Kennett and Dexter. You can watch that coming up today, Saturday at noon. Also at 6:30 this evening, and then Sunday afternoon at 3. Replay of that Kennett and Dexter game last night in Dexter. You can watch that online anytime, on demand at yhctv.com. Also at our YouTube and Facebook pages online. And before we go to a break, I want to show you some highlights of our game earlier in the week. We had Bernie and Hayti, big matchup earlier in the week. Bernie and Hayti from Tuesday night. Big matchup down there in the Class 2 district, non-conference matchup, but certainly big time teams in the Class 2 district, and a rematch of last year's district championship between Bernie and Hayti down in Hayti. And take a look at some replays from that game from Tuesday night. Take a look here. And here, starting off the first quarter, Bernie getting some three-point shots to fall. Slaving stepping into a three on the right side. And here we see Weston Zoll knocking one down on the left side. Bernie getting off to a good start. 3 3-pointers to start the game for the Mules, as we see here, jumping out to a 9-0 lead. But Hayti starting to get things going there as Gerard Covington getting a bucket for the Indians. Another 3-pointer on the left side. I think Slaving's knocking that one down here in the open court. Nice finish for the Mules into the second quarter here. Jamerson knocking that one down underneath for the Indians. Kicked out, 3-pointer on the right side, up and good. Landon Zoll stepping into that one. And jump stop into the paint, up and good. I think that was Naquan Harris for that bucket. 3-pointer on the right side, getting that 3 to go. And here another 3-pointer on the right side, up and good. Landon Zoll knocking that one down here into the paint. Ellenberg knocking down a tough turnaround jumper for the Mules. And we see here Hayti starting to get some transition buckets here at the end of the second quarter, making a pretty good run. 3-pointer knocking that one down on the right side. And here a steal in the open court, getting the finish. Here under a minute to play. And nice ball movement there. Jamerson with the finish for Hayti. And here at the end of the first half, Trayvon Thomas knocking that 3 down to cut it to a 1-point game. Here into the second half, Jamerson getting the Indians started with that bucket off the glass. Hunter Slaving stepping into another 3. He had a big night. I think 5 3-pointers on the night. 3-pointer on the left side, up and good. Covington knocking that one down. And transition bucket and the foul. Indians starting to get some momentum in the third quarter here with the lead, but we see Weston Zoll getting that putback mid-range jumper to fall. Slaving stepping into another 3 on the left side, knocking it down. And here we see 3-pointer at the top of the key, up and good, as we got a tight one here in the latter parts of the second half. Blake Hardy getting a nice finish in the transition, turnaround jumper. Gerard Covington getting that one to go and pushed ahead. And nice transition bucket there for the Indians. 3-pointer up and good on the right side. And towards the end of the third here, nice bucket underneath. And a basket and the foul for the Mules. And nice step through backdoor cut for the basket. And nice putback here. Ivory Winters on the putback for the Indians. And nice drive here off the glass, getting that finish to go here into the fourth. Things really getting interesting. 3-point shot, good in the right corner, and gives Bernie the 2-point lead. Now a 4-point lead and the foul. And Bernie with a 4-point lead here. Nice cut to the basket and finish, as Bernie really starting to separate themselves here. But a 3-point basket up and good on the right side. Cuts the lead to 3. And we see here a nice block in the transition, but a nice basket here for Bernie to put them up. And Bernie got the victory. It was an 8-point victory for Bernie. I think that was an 8-point victory. 66-58, I think, was the final score in that one from Tuesday night. But a big matchup between those two. District championship last year that went down to the wire. Could very well see that matchup once again this year, but it won't be in the district championship. The seedings won't match up that way, which we'll get into the seedings a little later in our program. But great game, great matchup, which we might see once again more than likely in the district tournament coming up in a couple weeks. So there you go. A lot of big games this week, and glad we could bring them to you here on YHC. And we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come back and be with Brad Botsch, Bernie basketball coach. We're going to come back with him and be back with that coming up.
A very big purchase. Our people enjoy visiting with our customers and working every deal to save them money. Customers see these special prices on the internet, but then must have a trade-in, must finance X amount of dollars. At Glen Sane, we'll show you exactly what price you're going to be getting. We'll show you the Glen Sane price is better, and you'll enjoy your visit. That's what we do at all 4 Glen Sane locations. Best price, best service. Glen Sane, and God bless our troops.
At Ag Explore, we're farmers too. so we know that farming's never been a 9-to-5 job. Just like the farmer, we work overtime to bring you whatever it takes. Solutions like InZone help you retain 47% more nitrogen, with an overall average increase of 12 bushels per acre. Imagine what InZone can do for you. Ag Explorer.
And we're back here. Sorry about that, a little mute there. But we're along with Brad Botsch this morning. And, Brad, we appreciate you coming on, talking with us. And you got a nice victory earlier in the week with Hayti and another one last night with Malden. So pretty nice week stretch for you.
Yeah, this is always a tough week for us with Hayti and Malden the same week. And, we have to really prepare hard for those guys. And fortunately came away with 2 victories.
Yeah, we had the one Tuesday night down in Hayti, and that's one of those games on the schedule, Brad. You look to and say, hey, that's a big game. We got to be ready to play. And you had a road game at that down there at Hayti, knowing the roster they have coming in. And the preparation's got to be one thing, but execution as well. And it seems like y'all had a game plan. Y'all came in and executed it quite well. You pretty much controlled the game throughout and made the plays late to secure that victory.
The thing that I thought, we got a good start in that game, and the kids came out and, they knew it was an important game for us. And, besides the fact it's just the next game on your schedule, which is always the next big game. But, they made a couple runs at us, and that's always going to happen against, a good team like that. And fortunately, we had a really good fourth quarter and closed the game out. There was one point in the game in the third quarter I thought, man, we're really fixing to be in trouble here, as they went up about 8 or 9 and were really had some momentum, and the kids were able to stop the bleeding and come back and do what we needed to do to find a way to get the win.
Yeah, sure. With Hayti, when it seems like Hayti really turns it on late. They turn on the pressure. They force the turnovers, and it seems like that's their game, and that's the one thing we looked for Tuesday night, how it was going to finish, if you all were going to be able to control the ball and execute late. That's always the thing with Hayti. They turn up the pressure at the right moments, especially late, and really dictate the game defensively. And it seems like y'all handled it quite well and actually executed offensively, got some big buckets against Hayti, and that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, it's always going to be one of the biggest keys is if you can take care of the ball. There's 2 big things that we always try to look at is, taking care of the ball is one of them. And if you can do that and execute offensively, you give yourself a chance. And then also is one of the biggest keys is being able to rebound against them because of their athleticism and quickness. You really got to do a good job and pursue the ball on rebounds, and they're going to get some. That's just you just hope they don't get too many, and they hope they don't convert on them. But it's difficult to keep them off the boards the way they attack them. But I was proud of our kids down the stretch. They only out-rebounded us by 2, and we won the turnover margin, and I think that was kind of the difference statistically in the game. And again, they're just going to always be coming at you and putting that pressure on you, as you mentioned. And you've got to be able to handle it with poise and confidence, and if you don't, they're going to exploit that. And, fortunately our kids did a good job in the fourth quarter when they turned it up. And, sometimes you can use pressure like that against the team because they'll start overplaying. You can get some backdoor cuts and things. So, we just have to keep working and because hopefully we'll get to see them again in the semifinal.
Yeah, that's the way the seeds look up this year. Portersville gets the 1, you all get the 2, Hayti the 3. So we won't have that district final matchup that we got last year, but certainly in the semifinal that could happen, which is probably a likelihood at this point the way it looks. But it'd be great to see a rematch between y'all two But great game as it always is between you all two. It seems like you got contrasting styles, but it's a great matchup because of those different styles. Who's going to be able to out-execute over the other with the contrasting styles? So it's always a fun game to watch between you two, and that was certainly a joy Tuesday night. Bernie, just talking about, or Brad, talking about your season in general. Seems like y'all had some success. Early on, you went into the Bloomfield Christmas tournament, had some success there in the county. Just couldn't get over that Dexter hump in the county, but second place not bad at all. But it seems like you've had some success and just had some tough games that you couldn't quite pull out. But here January now into February, it seems like you're playing some of your best ball that we've seen all year with the win over Twin Rivers. And now Hayti, it seems like here in the last couple of weeks, y'all have pretty much hit y'all's peak for the season.
Yeah, you want to be at your best at the end. I mean, that's one of the most important things that we talk to the kids about is, regardless of what happens, during the season earlier on, you want to be at your best when it means the most. And obviously every game, as I mentioned before, is the next one in front of you is the next most important thing. But you're still, thinking about districts all year long. That's when you want to play the best. And it's really important for us to be able to compete at our best down the stretch. And yeah, I mean, I think our kids are playing as good as anybody right now. And I think we're 19-6, and we've had, like you mentioned, we've had some good wins. Twin Rivers is a really solid team and well coached, and Hayti on their floor, and we had a pretty solid win over East Prairie in the Christmas tournament. Kennett, Dexter is a tough matchup for us. They had such length, and got out and guarded our shooters, and we just didn't do a real very good job of executing things against them, and that's because their kids did a great job guarding us. We just really struggled against them, but that's part of it. You just gotta find ways to improve and fix the things and that aren't going right. But I think down the stretch here we're starting to play a little bit better. I've seen some things out of the kids lately I haven't seen, and I think our kids felt we had a good enough resume to be the 1 seed, and it didn't work out that way, and it kind of lit a fire under them a little bit. So hopefully we'll take that into the district with a little chip on our shoulder and take care of it on the floor.
Sure. And take a look at your season coming in, Brad. You had some big guys coming back with some experience. Josh Ellenberg, Blake Hardy, Wesson Zoll, Hunter Slavings. Those guys are really, the key guys coming back. But, man, you've got some really good contributions out of some young kids that are stepping up. I know the Vaughn kid, underclassman, stepping up, the Landon Zoll, and there's probably a couple others I'm leaving out that have really stepped up and really rounded out your roster to, play deeper into your bench and contribute at a high level.
Yeah, we always tell those sophomores by this time of the year they're juniors. I mean, their sophomore year is almost over. So, Johnny just stepped in there and hit a few shots for us lately, and Landon's done a good job. He's starting to really come into his own, is shooting the ball well. And then, our 3 juniors are, Gohagen and Hardy and Schwint, and they've been solid for us all year. And you've got your 3 seniors that are we keep. We always are hardest on the seniors. We're gonna, we want their leadership, we want their communication, their effort. That we expect the most from them. And those kids have done a good job this year and had a good season. And can't say enough about their character. They're just such high character kids. They just really are. All our kids are high character kids, but these 3 guys in particular are just they're just great individual people, and we hope we can find a way to close out the year in a strong, positive way.
Sure, and it's going to be a fun inning. It always is. With some of the best basketball we'll see all year coming up in the next few weeks, with districts coming up in just a few weeks. So who do you end up with your schedule this week?
We got Richland on Tuesday, and that's it.
Okay, so one more there in the Stoddard County Conference with Richland, and heading into district play as the number 2 seed in that Class 2 District 1 in Portageville. And Brad, we can't let you go without recognizing you for becoming the all-time winningest coach at Bernie. You were recognized last week as passing Paul Hale as the winningest coach at Bernie. and it's got to feel good for the school to recognize you, and your team being able to, and all the players being able to look back at all these wins that they were able to contribute to and for the program.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised that of that ceremony. I had no clue that was coming. That was going to take place, and I really appreciate the former players and Coach Hale and Coach Carnes coming out for that. I had no idea until I saw Coach Hale there in the stands. I thought, what in the heck's going on here? But it's such a team effort, and without our the assistant coaches we've had, and Jason's been with me from the get-go, and he just does an amazing job. It's incredible the work he puts in and the time, and we couldn't have done any of this without his help. And we've had other assistants over the years, and our current guys just do such a good job. And and then the kids have been phenomenal. They're so coachable, and they try to do what we want them to do, and the dedication level, even this, especially this year, is just these kids are coming in every morning, and Jason's up there with them. It's a great situation to be able to be in, and we get great support from our administration and school board, and the parents are very supportive, and it's when you have all those elements come together, unless your talent level is just at a point where you're not going to be able to compete very well, you're going to have some success because you just got a lot of things going your way. And as long as you're consistent and work hard, I mean, some of those things just take care of themselves, and it's been fun. We just had such a good situation with the players and the coaches and the parents and the school. It's been a recipe for success, and it's been a really cool thing.
Sure. You think about Bernie, you automatically think basketball, and it's got a rich tradition going back to Paul Hale and his time and his great run there. And, of course, Morris Carnes had a great run there in between you and Coach Hale. And, you've kind of picked up that torch and carried it for how many years you on now there at Bernie?
I think it's 13, but I'm not sure. I'm terrible with years.
Be careful, it'll sneak up on you pretty quick.
With remembering things like that, it all runs together.
Yeah. So it's been a great run. It's been a great run, and
I was also fortunate to be able to play for Coach Hale and Coach Carnes. I mean, they're two really, really good coaches, and I played for Coach Hale my freshman and sophomore year, then Coach Carnes my junior and senior year, and then became Coach Carnes' assistant for 5 years before I took over as head coach. So I got to learn so much from two really good coaches, and I think that made a huge difference in the way that I approach things as a coach. I think it's important I didn't want to go right into coaching. I wanted to learn, from some really good people, and you still got to do that. I mean, I'm constantly always looking for things and talking to other coaches about what you would do here or do there. You just got to be a student of the game, and those are two of the best guys you could ever imagine to learn from. They're great teachers and great people, and I was very fortunate to be able to learn from two great ones like that.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to the rest of the way. Brad, you got a great season behind you. Looking forward to, almost. You got one more game next week, but looking forward to district tournament play there at Portageville. It's going to be a great district tournament. Some deep talent, as always, there in that Class 2 District 1, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. And, Brad, best of luck to you, and we'll be looking forward to the rest of the way.
Okay, appreciate you guys.
All right, take care, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, there he is, Brad Botsch, head coach of the Bernie Mules, and recognized for passing, I think he's around, I can't remember the exact amount of wins. It's in the upper 200s, I believe. So quite a stretch and a good run for the Bernie Mules over the last 12, 13 odd years. Brad Botsch has been there as the head coach. So got another great run potentially out of the Mules this year. We'll see what happens, but it's been a pretty good year for the Mules once again. All right, we're going to let's take a look at some headlines real quick, and we're going to have Terry McVey along with us here momentarily. Take a look at some headlines from the weekend. I had a lot go on these last few weeks, and we didn't get to a roundtable last weekend, but a lot going on. We talk about Kennett edging Dexter in that conference victory last night. Big conference win for Kennett for the Indians last night. Also, Sykes and Edge in Cape Central, 68-66 in that SEMO Conference thriller. And like I said, we'll probably see them again in that Class 4 district tournament. But Sykeston pretty much in the driver's seat now for that conference title. They had their big wins behind them. Poplar Bluff last week, Cape Central this week. Probably got another couple conference games on the schedule. They got back past Charleston as well. So they're pretty much in the driver's seat for that SEMO Conference title once again this year. And Class 1 through 3 district tournament brackets have been released. We're going to touch on that in our next segment with Terry McVey when we have him on. And Risco winning its third straight Tri-County Conference title over Clarkton. Big win for Risco last night, winning its third straight conference championship. And Brandon Blankenship and the Risco Tigers on another great run this year and heading into district play in a couple weeks as well. Going to look good in that district once again this year. And we talked about Brad reaching 2,000 wins, or 2,000, excuse me, reaching the winningest coach for Bernie. And also Dexter Shaley Mosby recognized for reaching 2,000 points, 2,000 career points here at Dexter, and a great milestone to reach as a high school player. That's kind of the gold standard of milestones for high school basketball players, and you got to, pretty much have to average at least 17 to 18 points over, probably a little bit more than that, over 4 years. And Dexter Shaley Mosby has had a great run in girls basketball here at Dexter over the last 4 years, and she was recognized for that earlier in the week when they played Notre Dame Monday night. And congratulations, Shaley Mosby, already reaching 2,000 points in her career. And also Nate Burnett of Risco reached 2,000 points last night in that win over Clarkton. And Nate Burnett, one of the best scorers in the area, certainly among the smaller schools here in southeast Missouri. And he reaches the 2,000-point milestone as well. So congratulations to Nate Burnett, surpassing 2,000 points last night in that conference tournament championship, Tri-County Conference title. So another big headline there from Risco and Nate Burnett. And we're going to take another break, and we're going to come back and be back with Terry McVey, our YHC sports contributor. We're going to talk about all that's happened this week over the last few weeks and heading into the districts. Take a look at those brackets that are out for classes 1 through 3, and we'll be back with him coming up.
Over 100 years. That's how long Farm Credit has been there for our friends in the agricultural community. Whether your farm needs an operating line of credit, equipment or farm real estate financing, or crop insurance, Farm Credit has the tools you need to help your operation grow and be successful. We are dedicated to make the extra effort to understand your operation and your needs. Agriculture and Farm Credit is here to stay. Stop by or give us a call and let us help you find the best solutions for your operation's success.
If you or your loved one has disabilities that cause you to need a little help, Boot Hill Area Independent Living Services can provide the assistance you need. At Bales, we want you to have control of your life and assist you in thriving in an independent lifestyle. The Consumer-Directed Services Program allows you, the consumer, to choose who assists you in conducting your daily activities. Bales serves Stoddard, Dunklin, New Madrid, and Pemiscot counties. Call or visit our office in Kennett to see how we can help you maintain your independence.
At Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, we are an exclusive dealer with lifetime warranties on over 800 new and pre-owned vehicles.
Did you know all new Toyotas come with a lifetime warranty?
And all new Fords come with a lifetime warranty.
And most pre-owned come with a lifetime warranty. Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, where we all win. With Baldwin.
And welcome back, and now we're along with our YHC sports contributor Terry McVey. Got him over the phone as well. And Terry, it's been a great run here the last few weeks, and this is the most interesting time of the year, coming down to big conference games and looking ahead to districts. But man, just looking back here at the last few weeks, we've had some big games in the SEMO conference. We've wrapped up the Boot Hill conference, and we've seen the Ozark Foothills Conference wrap up, and also the Tri-Counties. So some big games we've seen here in the last week or two.
Well, I mean, you and I have talked that this is the greatest best time of the year for high school basketball fans when the conference tournament's wrapping up and the seedings either coming out or lining up, and then going into district play is and then when you get into district play, it's all one and done. And you lose, your season's over. It's a long, long season, a long, hard season. You lose a game and then it's gone. So it's just a great time of year for high school basketball, and it's lining up that way this year. I mean, the last couple of weeks, there's been some great games, some big tournaments, and the seedings are out on Class 1, 2, and 3. So everything's lining up like it should.
Yeah, let's start with the SEMO Conference, Terry. Going back to last week, we had a big game, Sykeston and Poplar Bluff. That went high scoring. Sykeston got the
101 to 90 something.
103 to 96.
Yeah, and at one time, Sykeston was up in that game by 15 at least. Maybe even, I know in the third quarter, maybe in the fourth quarter, Poplar Bluff came back strong, got it down to a 1-point game before Sykes finished it off. That was a great game. And then last night, Sykeston beat Cape, I believe, by 1 or 2.
2, yeah.
At Sykeston, and which I guess pretty well clinches the SEMO Conference title for Sykeston. It also lines up the Class 4 seedings, which will be Sykeston number 1, Cape number 2, but that's going to be played. That tournament's going to be played in Cape. Last night's game was in Sykeston, so good Lord, who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah, last time Cape was able to knock off Sykeston or at least in the district tournament, was in Cape. That was back in, I think, 2013, where Sykeston had one of the worst shooting nights you could possibly have. I think they went about 1 or 2 of 25 from 3, and Cape went on to win the district championship. So not the... they always talk about that Cape gym and that big orange wall that throws them off, it seems. But certainly Cape will take that home court advantage gladly come a couple weeks.
Yeah, and that's but Cape's a really, really, really good team, and that's the kind of night that's going to beat Sykeston is when their 3-point shots are not there. Although they've got plenty to work with underneath. I mean, they're a complete team with the Longs and Jenkins and Jones. They're ranked number 1 in the state and for good reason. So that's going to be a great district.
Yeah, always is, and that matchup might be the best we've seen this year between Cape and Sykeston. It was a great matchup last year, and it looks like it's going to be the same this year. So that'll be one to look out for there in the Class 4 district for sure, Sykeston and Cape Central. And talking about some of the smaller schools, Terry, we had had a big matchup Tuesday night, Bernie-Hayti, which we've already talked about. But man, that district's looking awful good this year, and that Class 2. Yeah, that Class 2 District 1, it typically always is, but it seems like the teams kind of shuffle around a bit. It's always Bernie-Hayti there in the mix. Portageville's been right there, but now this year they're the number 1 seed. We'll go ahead and take a look at that Class 2 District 1 tournament.
Right.
And Portageville with the number 1 seed, got 2 with Bernie and 3 in Hayti, and even the team like South Pemiscot or even Campbell. Campbell's had some big victories this year, so you can't really overlook them, especially early in the tournament. So this Class 2 District 1 is going to have some good matchups even on the first night, I think.
I thought it was going to come down between. I think it probably did come down between Portageville and Bernie as who was going to be the 1 seed, with of course last year's Class 2 runner Hayti right behind them. But it's being played at Portageville. Portageville, took one on the chin a week or so ago against Crothersville. That, in a long season, when you're playing 20-something games, you're just going to have one of those nights. And when Crothersville beat Portageville by 40 points in the Boot Hill Conference tournament semis, it was just one of those nights for Portageville. They could not hit. They couldn't hit the ocean if they were throwing a ball out and they're standing on the beach. It was just, it's just one of those nights. Sometimes you got to, shake it off and say it's just one of those nights. Portageville since come back to beat Kelly on Tuesday night. Last night they played at Charleston. Midway through the third quarter, they were 1 point behind, but then, of course, they were playing at Charleston, and we all know what Charleston can do in about 3-4 minute stretch, and runs about 12 off the board real quick, and puts the game away and wins by 18. But the point is, Portageville played Charleston well at Charleston, so Portageville's, they're back in it. They're back around. I think they've shaken off the loss and the bad loss, and that's just going to be a tremendous district. And then you look, you win that district, then the next week, the next round, you're going to play probably Thayer, but then turn around the next round, you're probably going to be playing Orange to get over Springfield to the final. So Class 2 is just going to be great for, and all those games will be in Southeast Missouri. Will be held in Southeast Missouri. So Class 2 for the next 3 weeks is going to be great.
Yeah, certainly is. And, take a look at this Class 2, District 2, Thayer's on top there, followed by Van Buren, Neelyville. We've seen some good games out of those teams some parts of the year. But, this...
Neelyville was the number 1 seed in the Foothills Conference tournament. And, of course, when we get to 3, we'll talk about Twin Rivers, and they handily beat Neelyville last night.
Yeah, they sure did. So, Thayer's one of those teams. They're just a tough team to play. They're physical. They play that ball control game. You're going to have to score. You're going to have to win scoring a game in the 40s likely, and just a methodical team there with Thayer. That's always a tough matchup for the Boot Hill teams because it's just such a different opponent.
Right. Yeah. And this year. Southeast Missouri team then going to have to play Hartville to get to Springfield like they had the last 2 years. Now the last 2 years the SEMO team has won that game and gotten to Final Four, but boy, getting by Hartville is a chore. But that quarterfinal game, which is usually held at Three Rivers, last couple of years it's been Hartville against either Oran or Hayti. Boy, those have been great games, but this year they've realigned the districts to where whoever wins District 1 is in the quarterfinals most likely to play Oran, and that ought to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, that's the tournament certainly to look forward to. We'll be there on hand for that Class 2 District 1 final in a couple of weeks. We'll be there on the final night. But, man, these semifinal matchups, if they chalk out the way they are, Portageville and South Pemiscot in the one semifinal, Bernie-Hayti and the other, man, those can very well be district final matchups there. February 19th, Portageville Gymnasium is going to be a good place to be. Yeah, those semifinals are going to be tough games. And a team like South Pem, you don't exactly know what you're going to get out of South Pem, but it's certainly a capable team. On any given night, they can be the best team in the tournament and knock you off. So that's what we've come to know about South Pem.
Players, both the Rogers guys and Fuller, and they've got some players, guys that can do some things. That when they played Hayti in the semis of the Boot Hill Conference tournament, Hayti had a big first quarter, and was ahead by 20, but after the first quarter, South Pem beat Hayti 5 points after the first quarter. So, South Pem has some players, and they're very well coached by Mike Kilgore. So, they could jump up and bite somebody in that tournament.
Yeah, and South Pim always has one of those games in the conference schedule the last 2 or 3 years that they'll blow somebody out and didn't see it coming. You know, so if they've got that in their back pocket to use in the districts, wouldn't be surprised they can pull that off. They're just that capable of a team.
Yeah. Like I said, they're very well coached, and but then they got to get by Campbell in the first round.
Yeah, Campbell's had some nice wins. Crothersville's probably their biggest win of the year there in the conference, so they're a capable team as well.
Yeah, sure will.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at some of these others just to give a quick little preview ahead. Class 1, District 1 at Gideon this year. Risco with the top seed, going to take on the winner of Southland and North Pim in that first round. Also, we got Delta and Richland in the first round, and Scott County Central and Delta C7. So a little deeper tournament this year. A couple new teams here, notably Delta getting in the mix there as the 4 seed, and Scott County Central as the 2 seed. Actually,
yeah, they are 2.
Yeah, I think I'm missing a few there, or I got the seeds wrong.
Well, there's Delta and Delta C7.
Yeah.
Delta's the 4 seed. They've come down to that. This year, Scott County Central, you know, they're not one of their classic teams, but they're still a pretty decent team. Clarkton got the 3 seed. Clarkton's much improved.
Yeah, the Clarkton. I think it's.
Yeah, Clarkton's a 3 seed.
Yeah, I got the bracket wrong here. We'll get that in a second. But, yeah, the Clarkton has the 3 seed, Scott County Central, and Delta. I mean, this is a tournament that's probably a little deeper than it's been in years past, Terry.
Yeah, it's not going to be a runaway for Risco. Well, you know, Risco, you know, beat Clarkton last night for the Tri-County Conference title, but, you know, Clarkton was the 1 seed in that. And so, you know, Clarkton's much improved this year, and even for the first year, we got another Bible doing a good coaching job, and Jordan Bible doing a good coaching job at Clarkton.
Yeah, and that 3-6 matchup is Clarkton and Gideon. We had them on there just off the screen. But Clarkton and Gideon.
And you know, Gideon keeps getting better, and they're playing it at Gideon, so you know that's not a guaranteed advance for Clarkton.
Yeah, you know, Risco, they've been in some good spots in that Class 1 District 1, and Scott County Central there at the number 2 seed. You know, it'd be pretty poetic if Risco could finally advance over Scott County Central in a district or state tournament game. That's kind of the matchup that, you know, certainly with the seeds that is expected, but you know, that would be something if Risco could just finally get past Scott County Central in a postseason game.
Yeah, well, because you know, they played so close the last couple of years, and just haven't been able to get past it. But I think this may be the year.
Yeah, very well could be the year. And a team like Richland, you know, Richland's got a much improved team this year. Terry is a 5 seed. You know, they could certainly make it interesting in the first round. And you know, I like how this district tournament looks this year. It's pretty deep considering compared to the last couple of years we've had.
Yeah, last couple of years, you're right. It's a lot deeper. I think you know, with the improvement of the teams, you know, Risco and Scott County Central are going to be there. But with the improvement of the teams like Richland and Clarkton and Gideon, it's just made for a better district.
Yeah, then we got Delta in there, and Delta's had a pretty fine year up north too. They're a new addition to the district, so makes it interesting there as well.
Yeah, we just historically we don't know a whole lot about Delta. We just know if you're going to Cape on Highway 25, you pass through it.
Yeah. Yep. Certainly a kind of a outlier there coming into the district. And taking a look at some other district tournaments, that Class 3 District 1, always a great tournament year in and year out. And this year, Charleston, I think they bought that number 1 seed, Terry, and they just own it. So
They earned it. Well, they earned it, especially, early in the year. You say, well, this isn't going to be one of Charleston's really good teams. Well, last year, this wasn't going to be one of Charleston's really good teams, and they ended up second in the state. Barely made it out of the district. And they had a really good championship game against Malden last year. But this year, the tournament's being held in Charleston, and Charleston is playing better than anybody else in the district. But that doesn't mean this isn't going to be a pretty interesting district. You got New Madrid Central may be down a little bit at this time of year, and Twin Rivers seem to have been kind of leveling out and not, maybe peaking early, but now, last night they beat Needyville like over 25 in the OFC conference tournament. So Twin Rivers may be coming back up. And looking at the brackets, don't look past Caruthersville. They'd lost 6 in a row going into the Boot Hill Conference tournament, but we had them 10 days ago or so, and they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, and New Madrid we're seeing move up some, having a slightly better year than last year, but going to have that number 2 seed. Going to be interesting on that side with Twin Rivers. Twin Rivers really played well at Christmas, and they've had a few tough ones over the last month, but answered with a big win last night. They won over Doniphan earlier in the week, and then defeated Neelyville in that championship game last night. They'll have a tough out in that first round with Caruthersville, and like we saw in that Boot Hill Conference final, Terry, in that run that they had in that conference tournament, they could very well challenge for the championship of this tournament, not only the first round.
Yeah, they could win the championship. They've got, you look at, you try to look at all the parts, and which teams have all the parts. Well, they got the big man in the middle, and Davis, who's a load in the middle. They got shooters in Privet and Smith, I think it is. The point guard is Johnson is just really, really quick, and the guy that comes in when he goes out is really, really quick.
Yeah, Dundee Hamilton.
They've got shooters, and they've got size, and Caruthersville's got the parts.
Yeah, I think by the end of this tournament, we might be thinking that Caruthersville was a little off-seeded. We could very well come away with that after this district tournament, but they'll have a tough first round with Twin Rivers. Twin Rivers seems to be back on a good track here in the last few weeks, so that'll probably be the game of the first day or first round for sure. Twin Rivers and Caruthersville, that'll be a good one.
Well, Kennett and East Prairie is going to be interesting. Kennett's had a rough stretch lately because they've gone through that stretch of the season. They, in the CMO conference, they on consecutive nights or like consecutive games. They played Charleston, Notre Dame, Sikeston, Cape, Poplar Bluff. They went through a real tough stretch. But last night we saw them at Dexter, and they're coming around. Kennett's a pretty decent team. They got the 4 seed. East Prairie, we talked at the first of the year where we really don't know what we're going to get out of East Prairie, and we're kind of still there. We still don't know what we're going to get out of East Prairie, but they've got some talent.
Yep.
And they can come up and give anybody a good game. So that's going to be a good district.
Yep, really good district, and usually we're seeing the top 3 or 4 seeds, but this year, you throw in, Caruthersville as a 6 seed. There's all kinds of wild cards there with that district this year, and it'll be fun to watch. We're going to be over at that district tournament final as well, that final night over in Charleston too.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be on that's a Friday night final on the 22nd.
Sure. And we'll be looking forward to being at that final as well. And we'll be all at these finals. The Class 1 District 1 final, the Class 2 District 1 final, and the Class 3 District 1 final. Those Class 3 districts will be at, and I think we got 2 on Thursday night, and then the Class 3 on Friday night. So some big,
that's true,
big matchups to look forward to in those district tournaments. And Terry, I'm excited. I'm pretty worn down this time of year, but I'm excited at the same time.
You're going about 3 different places every day.
Yeah, we got some more. We got 4 straight coming up this next week, but I'll have a week off to recharge for district tournament time, the district championship. So that'll be nice, and I'm looking forward to it, Terry. We've got some teams that can make some runs. We got some teams at the top end, the 1 and 2 seeds that are looking really good, but we've also got some 4 and 5 and even 6 seeds that could really make it interesting in these tournaments.
Yeah, usually this time of year you get to the tournaments and everything, lines up pretty well. But like I said, we got some six seeds that can win the districts. So that's usually what you find in Christmas tournament time, where nobody really knows how everybody lines up. Here we are in the district tournament. You got some 6 seeds that can win.
Yep, and you talk about a Crothersville team that beat Portageville by 40 points. As a 6th seed, that really makes you scratch your head. But it just shows the teams that are capable of making runs.
I barely beat them. They were ahead of Hayti in the 4th quarter in that Boot Hill Conference tournament final, and then Hayti scored the last 5 points last 5 or 7 points to win the game. I think we'll see. We'll get a good view about what might happen. Kennett plays at Crothersville Tuesday night, so that might be one to watch to see how that district's going to lay out.
Sure. So we'll be looking forward to it, and always fun. We got another week for classes 1 through 3, and we got another, I think, 2 weeks maybe for classes 4 and 5.
Yes.
So yeah. Coming down to the end here and getting ready for districts now.
Yeah, and we hadn't mentioned Class 5. I think Poplar Bluff's going to be there's only 4 teams in Class 5. It's Poplar Bluff, Jackson, and 2 St. Louis area schools. It's going to be held at Jackson. And for the last several years, it's always been between Poplar Bluff and Jackson, but it looks like it's going to come down to, Poplar Bluff. Jackson seems to be on a downward slope. They've been losing a lot. But Poplar Bluff last night got beat by Notre Dame in Poplar Bluff. So,
yeah. But
Poplar Bluff's a good team, and I would think they're probably going to be winning that district.
Sure. And next Saturday, we'll do a more in-depth preview of all the district tournaments that are going to be coming about. We should have Class 4 and Class 5 district seedings by then. So we'll dive more into those district tournaments more in depth across southeast Missouri next week. So we'll be looking forward to that. But we got quite a few games coming up this week here on YHC. As I mentioned to Terry, we got 4 straight nights due to a makeup girls game. Or not a makeup game, but we had to move our schedule around due to the Boot Hill Conference tournament being on a different night than we anticipated. So we had to add a game that we took out from the Dexter girls. So Monday night we'll have Cooter at Campbell. Tuesday night, Dexter at Poplar Bluff. SEMO Conference matchup there. The 13th, Wednesday night, believe it or not, a Wednesday night game, girls game, Oran at Dexter. One of the two, one of the 2 top girls teams in the area. Probably two top girls players in the area for Oran and Dexter.
Mosby and Cobble.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be good to watch.
Yep, that'll be a good one Wednesday night. Thursday night we'll have Holcomb at Malden. To wrap up our regular season schedule there on Valentine's Day on the 14th, Thursday night. And then we'll be getting ready for Class 1 through 3 district tournament finals on the following 21st and 22nd the next week. And then we'll get into state tournament games as they come for late February and March. So quite a bit more basketball, but we're coming down to the end of our regular season schedule here on YHC, and that's just the start of the season, Terry.
We're just getting started but it's such a great time of year for basketball fans.
It is. It starts to get a little warmer it starts to get a little warmer. And
it's going to start to get a little bit warmer. Then winter's going to come back and say, hey, wait a minute, I forgot something.
Yeah, right.
With another cold streak.
Yep, that cold streak. Yeah, it hits in a hurry. So, we'll be looking forward to it the rest of the way. Got some more regular season games to get to this week, and then district tournament action the following week. So we'll be looking forward to it. And Terry, maybe we can get back, talk next week more in depth about all the tournaments that are taking place next weekend, and look forward to the district matchups. And it's been a great year so far. I've been tuned in all year, and I've been throughout the year. You kind of look for hints, of this team, that team, and what piques your interest throughout the year. And it seems like from the smallest schools to Class 1 all the way up to Class 4, and even Class 4 in that district, it seems like there's always 2 or 3 teams that really keep you interested throughout the year, and by the end they kind of prove you right. So it's been a great year.
Yeah, but in talking about Class 4, all anybody ever talks about is Sykes and Cape, but then Notre Dame comes up, they beat Poplar Bluff in Poplar Bluff last night. So.
Yep. I remember, I don't know if I talked as much about it throughout the year because I haven't been proven right as much, so I don't talk about it. But Notre Dame was one of those teams this year I thought was really going to mix it up in the SEMO conference, and also in that district. I was really looking at Notre Dame being one of those teams that are could go in there with Cape and Sykeston and make that district a lot more interesting than just Cape and Sykeston. But they just got out to a slow start, didn't really play all that great basketball, and all of a sudden they beat Poplar Bluff last night, and okay, I'm starting to get proven right finally. So
I think my understanding is that they hit 7 out of 10 3-pointers in the second half, and I think even for the game they shot 70% from the field, which tells you one, they're good shooters, but two, they always play a pretty controlled system, and they take good shots. If you shoot 70%, I don't care how good a shooter you are. If you shoot 70% field goal percentage for a game, you're taking good shots, which tells me that they're playing the system. They're playing the way Notre Dame plays, and they're taking good shots, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, and maybe we can look forward to Notre Dame mixing that district up now with that big win over Poplar Bluff last night. We'll see. But there's certainly a team that's capable, and that's what I thought coming in, and they're starting to play that way now. So, all right. Well, Terry, we're going to wrap it up for today. It's been a great week, actually a couple weeks here in basketball. We've had some great matchups, and looking forward to some more over the next few weeks. And we'll talk more about it next week and going forward. But it's the best is yet to come.
It sure is.
All right. And appreciate you calling in, Terry, and talking with us. And we'll see you down the road.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Terry McVey, one of our long-time sports contributors here on YHC. He's been here from the beginning. I think when Bill Hampton got this going around 2000, the basketball going around a good 2005, 2006. Terry McVey's been here from the beginning, and appreciate that as well. And it's going to wrap it up for today. We've had a big-time show, probably a little longer than we would have liked, but a lot to get to. Fun time of the year, big matchups and big headlines. 2,000-point scores here the last few weeks that have been reached. Brad Botsch winning as coach at Bernie, and also the good weeks he's had in the last few weeks there at Bernie, and just a lot to get to. A lot of storylines to get to, big matchups, conference games, conference tournaments. Just a great time of year, and the best is yet to come as we talk about the district tournaments coming up in a few weeks. And we'll be on hand for that. Tune in next Saturday for our roundtable. We'll get more in depth into these district tournaments. We'll touch on the girls' side, the boys' side, all the district tournaments. We should have the Class 4 and 5 brackets by then. So should be a great show lined up for you next Saturday for district preview. And we'll have that for you next week. And appreciate everyone tuning in today. We'll wrap it up for today, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.